Ladies and gentlemen, now in today's video, we're going to be having a little bit of a chat about the August 2019 tier list update. We got two brand new champions entering the tier list, Spider-Man's Stealth Suit and also Mysterio. And there have been a couple of promotions which I think some people are going to be very, very happy to see. So I want to break down, all these promotions and the two new additions as well, and talk about why they've been placed at that rank, and talk a bit about the characters and kind of what they bring to the table, and my reason for placing them where they have been placed. But before we do that, I want to give the standard tier list disclaimer. The Marvel Contest of Champions is a very, very complicated game. There are a lot of modes of gameplay, champion matchups, nodes. There are so many different scenarios which influence how good a champion is going to be, so it's impossible to say that one champion is always better than another champion. There are a lot of factors in play in this game, so use this tier list for exactly what it is, a very rough guide to what I believe are some of the best champions currently in Marvel Contest of Champions. If you want to make some big rank up decisions, make sure to look up gameplay and think about what you're trying to do next and who's going to be useful for the content that you're trying to do. But again, use this for what it is, man, a very rough guide to what I believe are some of the most valuable champions to look up and invest in. But anyway, with that super fun disclaimer out of the way, let's get started on talking about the Spider-Man version of Stealth Suit. Now, it's no secret, I have a very soft spot for this champion. We've done so many gameplay videos literally in the last month, man. I must have done probably about 7 to 10 videos playing the Stealth Suit version of Spider-Man at 4-star rank 3 version, 5-star rank 3, 5-star rank 4, 5-star rank 5. I got him fully maxed out, taking him into Labyrinth. I've done everything that you possibly could have done pretty much with Spider-Man Stealth Suit, man. I've played this character an absolute crazy amount, and I think at the moment I was a little bit debating whether or not I believe he is a beyond God tier champion, but I'm going to start off by placing him in the God tier because I think he does a lot of stuff really, really well, but I don't think he does anything that is really important at the moment to the absolute best of its ability. So the pros of Spider-Man's Stealth Suit is he has some really solid damage output with some very high crit rating as well, and this is great in matchups and scenarios where the opponent has crit resistance, which is a mechanic that we're seeing more and more of. His damage output is fairly similar to the Stark enhanced version of Spider-Man, so he is a very similar damage champion wise in comparison to Starky, although I do value some of Starky's utility a little bit more. However, one thing that Spider-Man's Stealth Suit really has going for him is he's the perfect counter for a lot of unstoppable and a lot of invisible opponents, providing you can play quite aggressive in those matchups. So if you can, man, he can completely shut those opponents down. He is also an alright counter for evade, but in order to kind of put the slow on the opponent, you need to get a 5 combo and end with a light attack or a special 2, and the 5 combo ending with a light attack is really difficult to get off on a lot of evade champions. Think about Spider-Man, Nightcrawler. How easy is it to get like a full 5 combo without triggering evade? It is a bit of a rare scenario that you'll see that. You can build up to the special 2 and it does become a little bit easier. So yeah, longer evade matchups, he's maybe a counter if you don't need one from the get-go, but he's an alright counter for evade, I would say, with a slow mechanic. Also, a massive pro of the champion is he does not need to be awakened, but he does benefit quite nicely from his awakened ability. It enhances the attack you gain from the Fury by 40% when fully maxed out, so it's a little bit more damage there, but even unawakened, you've got the good utility to deal with unstoppable, invisible, and also evade as well. And then finally, he has a basic evade charge mechanic, so if you fail a combo, fail an intercept, this can save you a lot of the time, so that's a really nice thing for the champion to have. So overall, I think he does, a lot of basic stuff very, very well. I think he comes in at the solid God tier. I think a lot of people are going to be upgrading this champion, especially if they're quite into Alliance Quest, just for the fact that his prestige is really, really high, and prestige is a very important factor for Alliance Quest. But overall, man, I think he's a great addition to the game, and he's one of the best counters in the game for Thing as well, and Thing is a bit of a problematic champion for a lot of people right now. And then in terms of new additions, we have the second champion coming in, Mysterio, coming into the high demigod tier, and I again went a little bit back and forth on whether or not I consider Mysterio a god tier champion or a high demigod tier champion, because I think Mysterio, once you get him going, deals some really nice damage, but I don't think there's anything like super special or unique or insane about Mysterio that kind of warrants him just yet being in the beyond god tier or god tier category. But to cover some of the stuff that Mysterio has is he's poison immune, which is always really useful. He also has a large poison after you build all the way up to the special 3, trigger frenzy gas, and then, you know, build up your gas again and fire off heavies. But in a lot of scenarios, a lot of god tier or beyond god tier champions can just like kill the opponent in this time. So for longer matchups, it can be, you know, somewhat useful, man. Once he gets poison damage going, he really is a bit of a force of nature, but you know, the ramp up is a little bit of a long time in comparison to the performance that higher tier champions can output in a shorter amount of time. So looking at the bigger picture, Mysterio, I think he's a little bit behind damage wise, although he's definitely a lot better than a good, like, you know, 70-80% of champions damage wise in the entire game. He also has a solid heal block and a light ending combo, but this comes at the cost of your damage, because as soon as you use the special 3, it's going to consume all of your gas, and in order to get the full duration heal block, you need to hold on to that gas. So the heal block kind of comes at the cost of damage, and he's got an alright power drain on his special 2, but again, that comes at the cost of not using the special 3, and that comes at the cost of damage as well. So that isn't super great. He also has a bit of an interesting utility against Spider-Verse heroes. When they're poisoned, they cannot evade, so it's a nice bonus, but the poison doesn't last that long, and there are just better evade counters in the game. He also has a fairly unique-ish mechanic where ability accuracy cannot be reduced, and this is great for both Domino and Black Widow, because Domino can't trigger critical failure, and Black Widow, you're always going to get the parry stuns off when playing Mysterio, so it can be quite nice in certain matchups there. And then also with the Emma Frost synergy, his controls cannot be reversed, so when it comes to certain lanes and like Endgame Alliance Quest, Alliance War, this is quite a popular synergy for some people that do like running Emma Frost and Mysterio. So yeah, a pretty nice one there. But overall, I think Mysterio and Spider-Man Stealth, neither of them are like super crazy game-changing characters, like in terms of the overall meta, but they're both really good champions to have. If you're like a brand new player in like 4 months time and you get one of these characters out of your first 4-star, your first 5-star, you are going to be very happy. So yeah, I think they're both really good additions, but also, as well as the additions, we have a couple of promotions. So I've moved SheHulk to the Beyond God tier, and this is just after seeing kind of the practicality of playing SheHulk and how insanely she is being used for all sorts of content in Act 6, Labyrinth of Legends, and how even kind of mid-game, early game, people are just absolutely dominating so many different fights, matchups, and scenarios with SheHulk. So I think SheHulk is arguably the best counter to unstoppable mechanics in the majority of scenarios, showcased by her ability to deal with a champion, the final boss of Act 6, Chapter 2, who's like a massive problem for a lot of people. But SheHulk does so much stuff. She's got crazy damage ramp up when played aggressively. Also, the way that her taunt mechanic works for the Furies is great for forcing opponents to play more aggressively and throw the special attacks out there, which just allows her again to get in there, play aggressive, ramp up those Fury stacks, and just deal a crazy amount of damage. She also is a great counter to a lot of evade champions, just one heavy and you've countered the evade there as well. She's a reliable heal block with a small heal reversal on the special too, but this can be enhanced further if you have points in the Despair Mastery, or if you use the special one on top of it, with the Despair Mastery for even more debuffs for Despair to synergize with. She's also poison immune, and one of the big things that I've really kind of seen brought up about She-Hulk in the last month and a bit is her ability to like chain on heavy attacks after a 4 combo. It's really reliable, providing your opponent is like near the wall, so you 4 combo and then heavy attack, similar to kind of the combo that you fire off from Wasp, and you can always land the heavy providing the opponent doesn't have any power. And if they still don't have any power when they get up, you can just use the heavy attack again, so in some scenarios you can get like 2 to 3 heavies. So yeah, it means that you don't need to rely on parry if there's like a really easy special one to bait out, and you can just infinitely play without having the opponent touch you. So this is really big for a lot of scenarios and matchups, man. So that's a crazy amount of value there. Also, her awakened ability allows her to a chance to shrug off debuffs with every hit landed on the opponent. When facing a character of the Science class, which has some really good matchups for Void and also newer champions like Human Torch and also Invisible Woman, because you could potentially purify her invisibility mechanic, instantly rendering that one useless if you can land a couple of good hits while she's stunned. So yeah, that's a pretty nice little synergy there. Also, her awakened ability can further increase damage output against Mystic and Cosmic champions by a decent amount, especially Cosmics when they have a lot of buffs. Again, the final boss champion in Act 6 Chapter 2 absolutely dominates there. So I think She-Hulk, you know, from what I've seen and the love that she's been getting in the last months and kind of playing her myself on the free-to-play account, I believe she is worthy of the Beyond God tier, man. I think she's one of the best options for a lot of content in the game at the moment, and she really is kind of proving her value and worth. So yeah, mad love to She-Hulk there. And next up we have the Iron Man Infinity War God tier promotion. Now, I've added in 2 additional requirements for this one, and this is that he has his awakened ability and that you have the stealth suit Spider-Man synergy as well. So with both of these, the damage output is absolutely crazy with Iron Man Infinity War, because you can harness the awakened ability if you're playing like Nick Fury Things style at like 15% to get crazy power gain. The power gain is absolutely mad, and you can build up the plasma much quicker, which is going to last 50% longer with the Spider-Man synergy, and it just makes it really easy to stack. We've done a lot of Iron Man Infinity War gameplay in the last like 4 weeks as well, and if you don't believe me about his damage output, just type in like Iron Man Infinity War Realm of Legends or Iron Man Infinity War God tier and something will come up there. So there's some crazy Iron Man gameplay on the channel, man, but I do strongly believe if you play him kind of Nick Fury Things style and you have that synergy, he's just such a phenomenal champion damage output wise, and that's one of the things that he's kind of always been missing a little bit. Without the 50% increased duration to plasma and incinerates, it's been a bit impractical, but with that synergy, it's just really easy to do and really fluid, very fun to play as well. So that synergy has completely changed the character for me, and I feel like really does place him in a very strong God tier position. Also in terms of his utility and stuff, just to cover off additional benefits of Iron Man Infinity War, he's got immunity when he has armor to bleed and cold snap. He's got small power drain with his repulsor hits when the opponent has shock or plasma. He's got armor break. He has fantastic, well above average block proficiency, which gives him near perfect parries as well. So out of like Thing, Nick Fury and Iron Man, he's probably the most steady and reliable to play at 15%, because you're really taking like no damage off the parries there. He's also got a very solid heal block on the special 1 and heavy. He has unblockable special 1s and also his repulsor hits. So his I think it's like first, third, fifth hit, his special 1, they don't make contact, so you don't take damage back from opponents like Korg and also Electro, and also these attacks cannot be evaded as well. So essentially his mediums can't be evaded, and that's usually where you get clipped and a little bit ruined playing most champions that do not have a counter to evade. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the August tier list update. The tier list is absolutely massive now, boys. We have I think it's very close to about 150 champions overall in the game at the moment. And if Marvel Contest of Champions keeps on going for another 2 years, man, we're going to have like 200 on this tier list. It's just so crazy how many characters there are in this game. And I've been thinking a little bit as well, just some final thoughts today. I've been thinking about doing a bit of a tier list revamp and adding in like a double S tier. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but I'm thinking of kind of just splitting out the champions that I believe are maybe just above, but it's also like really difficult because the more I think about it, you know, there again, it's going back to like one of my first points, every champion has scenarios and matchups where they can either be like absolutely insane or just really rubbish. And there's so much criteria, so much stuff like ramp up, you know, the mode of gameplay, what nodes you got going on, so it's really difficult. So I think I don't know if I want to add in like a double S tier and kind of work on fleshing that one out a little bit more, or just kind of leave the tier list as it is. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. But aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you did enjoy today's tier list update. If you did, please do smash that like button, that'd be greatly appreciated. Aside from that, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.